I've got to go and check the air before we start here.
What?
Go and check the bar before we start.
No, you've just done it on the camera. Where are you going?
I thought so.
You've been quite good on Twitter.
Have I?
I would if I was to summarise in an emoji, I'd do a little fire one.
You don't like drinking Grover?
Never had it before.
You never had a bottle?
No.
You're losing points for being on the podcast every second.
Good.
Thanks for that input.
Before we get into the Villa, I had a bit of a...
It would be silly to start with Villa. Podcast. Hello, welcome back to the Villa View podcast with me, positive Dan Bardell, and negative Nancy, Tom Julian. Am I right? You're in a bad mood tonight.
I'm grouchy.
You are great, like an old man tonight.
I am.
You forgot your shirt, so I had to provide you with a shirt.
Yep, you're right. I forgot my mug, so you can't even get a drink around this place because they don't do cups.
Pass on plastic, mate.
Yeah, that's fine. Give me a porcelain cup.
Good word. Good word, porcelain. I think toilets, though, when I hear the word porcelain.
Yeah, it seems fair. I mean, I've had a very busy day. I'm tired. I got a headache. Villa lost again. But we'll get into the positives of that because, as you say, you're positive, Dan. But yeah, that's why we're here, isn't it? Aston Villa 1, Liverpool 2. To
dissect it, Tom, and work out where it went wrong, what we can do better, and what was good. That's what we do in the podcast.
That is exactly what we do in the podcast.
I don't know why I felt the need to explain what we do in the podcast.
Well, so you were there. The kind of mood feeling before the game. Liverpool coming to town. They're an absolute force to be reckoned with. How did you feel pre-match? Were you thinking, we'll take a point, we could do this, or just hoping for the best?
I think I kind of went in with the mentality, and this is probably the incorrect mentality to go into a game with, of kind of the free hit mentality of I'm not really expecting anything today, so whatever happens, happens. Obviously the team sheet came out and Jack wasn't there, and I was expecting him to be there, so that was another thing where I thought, okay, best player's not playing, not ideal, but then I started to think about it a bit more, and I thought, actually, if he's going to miss a game, today is not a bad one for him to miss. I'd rather he was fit for Wolves next week.
Totally agree.
So,
in days gone by, we would have rushed him back, then he would have aggravated an injury more, and then we'd have lost him for 8 weeks.
Because you know the type of character he is as well. Even if he's half fit, he would have been like, I want to play, I want to play. He always wants to play football, Jack Grealish. As Tim Sherwood used to say, he's a friend of the football.
Sure.
The football's his friend. That's what Tim Sherwood used to say. So, again, I was thinking, all right, that's not great, fine. But then in the back of my mind, I was also thinking, well, they haven't lost yet. At some point, I think someone will beat them. Probably be Man City next week. These are the more likely. But I don't think they'll go the whole season unbeaten. A bit like when Leicester won the league and Arsenal were the Invincibles. I don't think that kind of thing will happen again. I don't think it will happen in our lifetime anyway.
Right.
So I started to think, maybe. And then to be fair, we started very well. Yeah. Could have been one up very early doors from El Ghazi. Yeah. Perhaps should have done better. It was a bit of an awkward, funny one, really, that opening passage of play.
To me, it kind of was like he bumbles his way through, does pretty well. I think, give him the benefit of the doubt, does well to get past Van Dijk, but I think he kind of is a bit shocked at the fact that he's there. So hits it straight at Alisson.
Alisson.
I said that last time, didn't I? You took the mic. It's how they say it.
I mean, he is not French, Alisson. So they don't say it like that.
But should do better, probably.
Yeah, I mean, where he put it, if he'd put it either side of the keeper, it probably goes in. Because I actually don't think Alisson covered himself in glory for the goal, in my opinion. So I think if either side of the keeper, it probably causes him a problem, and it's 1-0 to Villa. I mean, as we all know, we went 1-0 up anyway. But it was a positive start. I mean, you hear about not many people ever get past Van Dijk, and literally within the first 5 minutes,
walked past him.
We strolled through. Yeah. So you then started to think, are they a bit off today? Because another thing, their team selection got me a little bit up, because I think Fabinho is a massive key component for them. Very underrated player. I think he's one of their most important players. I think you take him out, they haven't got anyone that does his role exactly the same.
Well, yeah, that's the reason he wasn't playing, wasn't it? Because he was one game off a booking.
Oh, is that the reason?
Yeah, and they wanted him for City. So,
fair. So he's on the bench. Lallana plays that role, and to be fair to Adam Lallana, he's a good player. Injuries, I think he's lost a little bit of pace. They're obviously trying to get him into a new role as a deep midfielder, but he's not as good as Fabinho.
No.
He's a good player, but he's not as good as Fabinho. And I've heard Liverpool fans say in the past, I've seen on social media, when Fabinho doesn't play, they don't control the midfield as much, and I actually think the central midfield is Liverpool's weakest area.
Right.
Although Dejan Lovren was playing, so you could say you could have said centre back was a problem.
Why was
as
Lovren
well.
playing? Do we know?
Because Matip's injured.
That's it.
And he's at the moment Lovren, for whatever reason, is ahead of Joe Gomez.
That's it. One of my friends who's a big Liverpool fan was just like, why is Joe Gomez not getting in this team?
It's a bizarre one because Lovren's 30 odd now, isn't he?
Yeah.
As well, he hasn't got any long-term future at Liverpool, but in a way it's good management from Klopp because I think he likes to keep people involved. So Lallana and Lovren are probably on the fringes, but he's got them involved and given them a game. He likes to have a tight-knit group, and he has to give everyone football at some point, so giving them league football probably makes them feel valued. So in a way, I think it's good management, but when I saw he wasn't playing for Fabinho, I thought, I fancy our midfield against them today.
Well, Liverpool's midfield grew into the game a little bit. You saw the kind of lobbed passes. I should say, I think Villa's defence played really, really well. Until the end. But there was a couple of times we got exposed with these kind of lofted passes. Mane has a chance. I think Henderson puts it over. And then Salah as well. Heaton makes a good close-range save. Again, I can't remember if that was floated in or whether it came down the line. But they got behind us a couple of times in there. And again, I feel like I've lost count how many times we've said it. It's so good to have someone like Heaton at the back who comes out, knows when to come out, just has really good kind of 6-yard box management.
I mean, I think he's starting to show his worth now, Heaton, and why we've said it's a bit harsh on Jed Steer, didn't we? But I certainly did.
It's Premier League,
You've got to say, Heaton is a very good goalkeeper, and I think he's starting to prove his worth now. I feel like he's a bit more settled than perhaps he was when he first came, because he came and he pretty much had that friendly in Leipzig as soon as he joined, jetted off to Leipzig. I kind of felt like he settled down a little bit more. He wasn't in the last, he was injured in the last international break, so he didn't go away with his country. So I just feel like he's coming across a bit more settled now. Maybe he had a few weeks to get his family sorted during that time where he wasn't away with England now.
I don't know.
I just kind of get that fit. He was doing well before, but I just I feel like there's an authority about him now, like he's taken on a bit of a leadership role. I think he's a very good goalkeeper.
I definitely agree that he's a leader, but I feel like he's been doing that for a while. He's kind of come in and him again. We talked about it. Him, Mings, and Engels just forming this triangle at the back, which is just so loud, so authoritative, and just breathes confidence into the rest of the team.
I've got to say, although obviously Liverpool dominated possession throughout the game, but at the start of the game, I feel like we had them under control. I felt like every member of the back four, Nakamba in front of them, the midfield, I felt like we were controlling them. Yeah. The fullbacks, they're both exceptional. I mean, we'll probably come on to Alexander-Arnold, but I've got to say, you don't realise how good someone is until you actually see them in the game. I've always thought, he's a cracking player when you watch him on TV, but you get a whole different perspective when you're at the game and you see these players live. And no disrespect to the Championship, as I'm about to disrespect it, but watching someone like Alexander-Arnold, you just think, we haven't had this over the last 3 years. Like, we haven't had these kind of players come into Villa Park. I thought he was world class. I've got to say, I thought he was. He's
so young, isn't he? And he's already set a bunch of records, Alexander-Arnold. And he's just. Again, we've said it before on this podcast. When you've got two difference-making fullbacks, which Villa have more so now.
I'm very impressed with both fullbacks
in the last few years. That just expands the field so much. It gives you loads of width, but it also gives you completely different options. And where we've been kind of one or two dimensional, now we've got all these different options. And Liverpool have that in abundance, don't they?
Yeah, first few times he touched the ball, I just thought, he's an absolute class act. I mean, growing up, he was a midfielder. He could play midfield now. He's passing. He absolutely rifles the passes, but they're just so pinpoint. They land in exactly the right place. Players don't have to break stride. I just think he's a phenomenal player. Phenomenal. And how he is not England starting right back at the moment is mind-boggling. Yeah, I totally agree. But let's get back to it. Villa take the lead. Mane has a couple of clips on Nakamba and then on McGinn, and obviously that. The second one there on McGinn, that leads to the goal. Terrible marking from Liverpool. Trezeguet drifting in at the back post, and maybe Alisson should do better. Yeah, I mean, I think we'd had a sighter of a free kick just before where we whipped one in, and I've always thought, if you miss out Van Dijk, not the biggest team, are they, Liverpool? No. They're not. They don't score a lot from set pieces, certainly, unless it's Van Dijk. Matip's not there. I wouldn't trust Lovren to mark his man, to be fair. I think it's a way you can get at them. It's a bit of a weakness. I'm sure another team scored a set piece against Liverpool at some point earlier on in the season in a big game. It's a way of getting at them, and Obviously, our best set-piece deliverer sat on the bench. Grealish has been taken him, but McGinn whips in a dangerous ball, and it's one of those goals that yet again at Villa Park I haven't celebrated because I just knew VAR is going to get involved at some point, and I've got to be honest, I thought I will be the wrong end of this decision without a doubt because I'm just so used to that happening. But I don't want to go on about it too much, but it is just taken away. When you're at the games, it's just ruining it.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about it when it comes to Firmino as well. But yeah, Trezeguet, a nice finish, and you have to be in the right place. I mean, I don't know whether Alisson doesn't reckon that the ball's even going to come to him, or whether he's just a bit kind of just that second too late, half a second too late. But Trezeguet still has to get on the end of it, and he gets it on target, and he makes it count essentially.
I mean, I think it's actually a harder shot to control than perhaps we think it is, because McGinn has whipped it in. It's got a lot of pace in it. It's kind of come past a lot of people, so he's got to keep his eye on it. He had a chance later on in the first half where it came to him and he swiped at it, and it was a bit of a wild volley, and it was a good chance where he probably could have took a touch. His confidence was probably up after he'd scored the goal. But it's a nice controlled finish. They always say just hit the target, and on that occasion, although we were saying about El Ghazi hit the target earlier and didn't score, Trezeguet hit the target, kept it down. It's gone in, and it's a good moment for him, a great moment for him, because his whole country's probably watching, because obviously it's Salah against Trezeguet. And out of the two of them, for the time they were on the pitch, Trezeguet was the better player. Salah did not have a good game at all. We caught him on an off day, which is unfortunate that we haven't capitalised on it, but we catch him on an off day, and Trezeguet played really, really well, and I think the goal was probably giving him some confidence. He got an assist at Villa Park a few weeks back. Oh, did he? He did something a few weeks, but I know he was against Burnley. He got an assist for McGinn's goal. He came on a sub and whipped it across the goal and got an assist. And now to just get that first goal will give him a lift, and he's growing. I mean, we're going to come on to transfer strategy later, because I think me and you have got a bit of a difference of opinion on the transfer strategy, but you can just tell he's a player. There's something there. He's going to get better. Pay $8 million or whatever it was for someone. You're not getting the finished article nowadays in the modern game. But there's something to work with there, and he had his best game in a claret and blue shirt. He
looked really lively against Spurs in week 1, didn't he? And I think he's kind of gone up and down as wingers tend to do, and he's a young player. He's still got a lot to learn.
How old is he? 23, 24?
You're putting me on the spot, and I don't know the answer.
He's 30 now.
Exactly.
Now we've just said he's a veteran.
He's a veteran. But wingers they go up and down in form, and previously we've said that he hasn't been fit enough to last the whole game as well, which has been an issue for him. But like you say, if you're paying $8 million for somebody, and you can then develop them into a 20, 30 million pound player and get 2, 3, 4, 5 good seasons out of them, then happy days. With that kind of transfer strategy, very, very happy.
I think you hit on a good point there with the fitness. Every game I've watched him, I felt like he's got nothing left after 45 minutes. You start the second half and he's blowing.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that on Saturday. I feel like he's come to terms and got to grips with the game a little bit more and the physical demands of it. So I think in the coming weeks, months, years, he's going to become a crucial player for us.
He's 25. Which is older than I thought it was.
They're still relatively young. He's not.
He just turned 25.
He's not. You wouldn't say he's played at a high level, a bit like Wesley. You wouldn't say that he's played. I mean, Wesley's played in the Champions League. But you wouldn't say they played in a top league, a top 5 league. Let's say. So there's some getting to grips with it to do. You've got to acclimatise again. It's a completely different country where he's come from. I think he's going to be a really good player, Trezeguet. I think there's plenty to work with there, and a good signing.
Liverpool had a few chances in the as the kind of first half wore on. Trent Alexander-Arnold had a decent chance, marvellous misplaced his pass, and Trent pounced on it, couldn't get it on target, and then we get to the Firmino offside, and is it Mane that whips the ball in?
I think so, yeah.
And then Firmino sticks it in, VAR checks it, it's ruled a no-goal because it appears that Firmino's armpit is ahead of play or whatever, and it's just a bit mind-boggling. Obviously it's gone for Villa this time, which, I mean, we were due some luck, but that two wrongs don't make a right. You know, it's still a frustrating system that they haven't got right.
The fact is, we've been done by similar. The Harahan cross for McGinn a few weeks ago against Burnley, that was very marginal. You've seen it in other games where it's happened, so it's the letter of the law essentially nowadays with VAR. What I will say is that the linesman has put his flag up straight away.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
So I think it comes down to that.
Okay.
I think it comes down to The linesman's put his flag up. Is it a clear and obvious error from the linesman? Looking at it back on VAR, if any part of his body's offside, it's not a clear and obvious error, is it? If it happens to us, I'm fuming.
Yeah.
I expect.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
That's an accumulation of we've been not given too many favours by VAR. Liverpool have had a few suspect decisions with VAR go their way. It hasn't cost them. So I think, looking at it logically, it is what it is. I think he's offside.
I think there's two things here. If you're a Liverpool fan, you can be annoyed because they've used the system and it still hasn't quite worked. But what I would say is that I totally agree, and that was the point I was going to make, that the lino gives it. So if VAR doesn't exist, then it's ruled offside, and the goal doesn't count anyway. So that's kind.
I'm surprised the linesman did put his flag up for something that's so marginal, because I didn't think they were supposed to do that.
But an assistant referee still has the job to do, and essentially he's tried to do it.
Don't put the flag up if you're not 100% and it's tight. Don't put your flag up. We'll look at VAR.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
It's the same as telling the referee not to blow the whistle for the Crystal Palace goal that we didn't get.
Yeah, I feel like that's more. Well, no, you're probably right in terms of the offsides now, because you've got VAR. It's just still muddled and makes it more confusing. Anyway, the goal is ruled out, and Villa remain 1-0 up. Salah has a chance before the half.
Sorry, can we just go back to VAR?
Well. Yeah, go on.
Sorry,
I thought we weren't going to go
No. But just a point. I'm going to defend the referee a little bit.
Go on, Big John Moss.
So Big John Moss, I thought had a decent game. I can see why people are a bit annoyed with the Mane thing, but I don't know whether we'll come on to it. I don't know if it's in the notes.
Yeah, okay.
We'll come on to it. So we've already had our goal looked at by VAR, and it feels like it's taken a while.
Yeah.
Tensions are up. The fans are annoyed. We hate VAR. I think the whole country hates VAR at the moment. Again, the Liverpool goal, or what not goal, was taking a long time to look at, and the fans are getting annoyed. And a few of the people in the hall are having a go at the referee, but what's he supposed to do?
Yeah.
He's got to go to VAR. It's not the referee's fault. And I just feel the people not doing the job properly at the moment, in the main, it's not the referee. It's not the referee. The referees are doing their job. They're taking things to VAR. They don't seem to be able to go and check things themselves for whatever reason. Having to go at the referee in that situation, nothing John Moss can do. What's he supposed to do?
The whole thing is supposed to alleviate the pressure on referees, and if anything, it's just compounded it.
It's just a mess.
It's a mess, and nobody knows quite what's going on. And yeah, like you say, it doesn't make the environment any less hostile for the referee. If anything, people are piling on now, and they're blaming the referee, even though he can't do anything in this situation.
So, like our podcast described as off the cuff, shambolic, but always enjoyable, was it? Or something like that. VAR is shambolic, it's off the cuff, but it's not enjoyable. No one is enjoying it.
It'd be a 1-star rating on iTunes.
Definitely.
And
I agree with you.
If you want to rate the podcast, you can. Little plug. Yes, Salah has a chance before the half, but it goes well over from Mane's pass. So, on balance, do you think Villa are good for their lead at 1-0?
Well, we took our chance. They didn't have many clear-cut chances. As I said, I think Salah and Mane were having a complete off day. Salah looked like he had his boots on the wrong feet at certain points of the game. Mane was overhitting, underhitting. Henderson was doing the same in the Liverpool midfield. I think he nearly sold Alisson a bit short at one point. Alisson bailed him out again. Someone who a couple of times he plays higher up than a normal goalkeeper anyway. Sweeper keeper. I've got to say, he's rapid.
Yeah.
My God, I couldn't believe how quick he got to things. I know he's starting up from high, but still, he's got an exceptional turn of pace. Unbelievable. People don't like Liverpool in general. I've got to say, I've got a lot of respect for them, and I love Jurgen Klopp. I think he's great. I think what he's done there, okay, they've spent a bit of money, but you've got to just look at that team and just say, Villa got beaten by a very good team.
He comes from where my wife's family's from in Germany.
Really? Where is it?
It's like the Schwarzwald, the southwest.
Oh yeah, I know it.
Do you?
Nope.
No,
I've never heard of that place. I've heard of the Black Forest.
Yeah, the Schwarzwald.
They make gatto there.
They do.
Is that where it stems from?
Black Forest gatto.
Yeah,
unsurprisingly.
Is that where it stems from?
Yes.
I didn't know. There could be somewhere else in the world called the Black Forest.
That's true.
Like quite a common thing.
That's true. Sorry,
there we
mate.
go. It's
Sorry.
all right.
Sorry, buddy.
Grouchy.
Anyway, Black Forest gatto, not a fan. I don't really like alcoholic desserts.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah?
I'm with you, yeah. We're on the same page there completely.
Finally.
Well, I don't mind a bit in a trifle. Bit of amaretto and a trifle.
Nah, forget about it.
My mum said the other day, I'm going to make trifle this Christmas as you're at home. Because obviously I have to alternate.
Right.
Exciting times.
Great.
Yeah, love a bit of trifle.
I should say that, Dan, you were playing Christmas songs when I got in your car
I
earlier.
just want to clarify this. I wasn't playing Christmas song. I mean, there was a Christmas song on.
Yeah.
But I just had a shuffle on. There was not physically, I had a shuffle on my, on my phone. I wasn't doing a shuffle. And a Christmas song came on that I'm quite fond of, and I didn't skip it.
Do you want to tell everyone what it was?
Yeah, it's Run DMC, Christmas in Hollis. In my opinion, I think that's the best Christmas song. But you were not having it at all, were you?
Again, I mean, it doesn't play well into my grouchy mood, but I can't stand Christmas songs
In general?
Yeah.
You're not going to like when your Alfie starts to grow up a little bit, get the Christmas songs playing in the house, G him up for Christmas a little
Driving Home for Christmas
Yeah.
is the only one I'll tolerate.
It's typical that you like a classic, it's a bit of a Tom Julian song. It's a bit slow.
Yeah, that's fine.
A bit melancholy.
Yeah, definitely tonight.
Anyway, let's get back to the football.
Second half then.
We've missed some stuff in the first half there. Mane dive.
Oh, the Mane dive. Sorry, yes. So let's talk about it then. Mane, whom you didn't have a great game. Or
Don't matter when you score the winner, does it?
Yeah, that's true. But he was involved in quite a lot, as we'll come on to. But
it just wasn't his normal self, I didn't think.
So talk us through the dive then.
It's just a dive.
It's just a dive. There's no doubt.
He did one the other week where he threw himself down. I think it was against Leicester in the last minute, wasn't he? And he got a penalty. And Pep, very cleverly this week, has started alluding to Mane's dive, hasn't he? Just in time for their game next week. I think that's clever. I think it's a fair thing to say because the dive, it just was a dive. Players are just looking for contact now. And Mane's got one the other week that was quite soft. He's probably expecting VAR to do exactly the same thing. But to be fair to John Moss, straight away he was over to him, yellow card. A few Villa fans have said, well, that should have been his second yellow card. And I agree that he got away with a few. But what I will say about John Moss is, in general, he let the game flow. He didn't want to book people. It was a proper game on Saturday. It was a really, really good advert for the Premier League. It was a good competitive game.
Yeah.
Just before Mane made a questionable tackle that I think would usually be a booking, Gilbert made one that I thought was a definite booking, and he didn't book him. So in some ways from John Moss, it was a little bit of consistency. But then when he does go on to make, he just kept making niggly fouls. But I wouldn't necessarily say that they're bookings.
But if you
tot it up.
Yeah, you get persistent fouling, don't you? And then he had that as 2, which was literally 2 in 10 seconds on the Canberra McGinn, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to side with the referee, but I thought John Moss refereed the game well.
Right.
Probably the best refereeing display I've seen in a Villa game this season, I thought.
There you go.
I thought he reffed the game well, John Moss.
I'm always amazed by John Moss because he's quite a portly fellow, and he can sprint like as the
not
player's
like
going.
Alisson, though.
No, not like Alisson. But it always surprises me what a turn of pace a referee has because they're like mid-30s. But
John Moss cannot be mid-30s.
bit chunky. Well, yeah,
he must be in his 40s at least.
Isn't there an age limit on
There's a
referees?
cut-off, but he won't be 40s. It must be 50.
Right.
John Moss is in his 40s.
Anyway, would that
if
make
I'm older than John Moss, I'm very upset.
that makes it even more impressive, I think. Yeah, you look it up.
Well, would they have the age of referees on Google? Is that the kind of
Do you
thing
think
that they have?
Do you think he has a Wikipedia page?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You've gone for the non-H spelling.
I thought that was how you spelt it, to be honest.
Might
Thank
be.
you. Jonathan Moss, 49 years of
49.
age.
Just turned 49.
It's amazing that you can just type that in and it just comes up. A referee. Really, I don't feel like I should be able to just find out that information that easily about a referee.
Well, I mean, he's probably had a couple of dinner nights with John Moss, hasn't he?
Could be his last season, potentially. You look at it, they're all around. Mariners 48, he's been around for
Mariners,
ages.
48.
Friend 48, Mason 48, all might do into 51.
They must have changed it then. I'm sure they
There is a cut-off.
Well, they made Kalina retire. I'm sure they did.
It's shambolic.
And he was great. And I'm sure he was only 40.
Not many referees can get away with being on the front of a computer game, but Kalina did it.
That's true.
Pro Evolution Soccer.
Right.
Your hero. Your hero, Kalina.
He's a fantastic referee. Howard, what's his name? Howard Webb. He was always one that I looked up to. Liked Howard Webb. But then he got more and more Manchester United as
he made a
we went.
very dodgy decision in an FA Cup semi-final against Villa.
I mean, yeah. No, nobody's perfect.
No.
So second half then, Liverpool...
I think you should give me a pat on the back for praising a referee. I thought you'd be more pleased with that.
Do you want a...
No, I don't physically want one, but I thought I'd like an acknowledgement. Because you always think I always think you're very pro-referee.
Yeah,
I think
fair.
you always think I'm quite anti-referee and harsh. And I could have took the other route there with saying Mane should have got sent off, but I've sided with John Moss.
Okay, well done.
Thanks.
Well done, mate. So Firmino, I'm going to try this second half again for the third time. Firmino with a half volley, that's deflected over for a corner. Mane has a shot, probably again should do better, straight down Heaton's throat. Liverpool start fairly lively.
But you'd expect it.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything on Saturday that I didn't expect. You'd expect them to have the most of the possession. You'd expect them to have more shots, but as I said, I don't think the stats tell the story, because although they're having a lot of shots, I really felt like we were controlling them and containing them. At the game, that was how I felt. I didn't feel like they were going to break us down.
Right.
That was the bit. It got to 80 minutes, and it's a dangerous time. Obviously, we all know that, especially being a Villa fan. 80 minutes is a dangerous time in a football match. But I was starting to think, one, they're not at it today. Liverpool, they're not at the best. I felt like we were defending at our best. So I really thought we were going to contain them. And I don't think the subs necessarily worked that well for us on Saturday. I think Wesley had just started to close down and hassle and harry, and then he didn't seem like he was absolutely blowing to me. And to take him, I mean, I've skipped right ahead here.
Yeah.
To take him off for Codger, not for me.
No.
But let's go back.
Do you want to talk about Wesley, or do you want to save that to the end?
Well, we're going to... I suppose we may as well talk about it now, as I've brought him up.
There's a couple of questions. Lou Izzles, who doesn't like me saying Izzles because apparently it's not right. But
what is it then?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, let's not dwell on it.
She brought up the point of Wesley, and I said that she basically said there's two schools of thought: those that are praising him a lot, and those that don't give him any credit. And
I would say it's 50-50.
And I said, well, I'm in the no credit side, and I got a bit of stick for that. And I don't think that's quite fair.
I don't think you worded that the best, if I'm being
No,
honest.
I mean, I'd had a couple of beers yesterday at the NFL, and...
What, did you go to the NFL yesterday?
Yeah, it was terrible.
We got 25 minutes without the NFL.
I mean, come on. Anyway, had a couple of beers, and I was just basically... I don't think Wesley... This is difficult, because I don't necessarily think it's Wesley's fault.
You're not really someone who I would describe as jumping on players either.
No, and
would be my school of thought here.
The problem is, I don't want to jump on Wesley, but at the same time, I kind of feel like I have to, because he doesn't do what I want my centre forward to do. When people are praising him,
and I can see that.
When people are praising him because he harries the defence, I'm kind of like, well, yes, that's the bare minimum he should be doing as a Premier League striker. I know he's young. I know he's relatively inexperienced when it comes to playing in the top leagues and all of that. And that's why I kind of don't want to blame Wesley in total. I kind of want to look at the total transfer strategy and go, well, we've only got one centre forward, essentially. Codger is not good enough for the Premier League. Keenan Davis is still very young, very raw, and not good enough for the Premier League at this moment.
We said raw at the same time then.
It's nice, isn't it?
It's
synergy.
Poetic.
And then you've got Wesley, who by default essentially is your starting centre forward. I know he scored 4 goals. I think he should have scored more goals. I think there's been a few chances where he's not made the best of them. And for 3 or 4...
Well, he had a chance in the first half that we haven't spoke about, a header.
Yeah.
That went in that he didn't connect with. I've not seen that back, to be fair, but it felt a good chance at the time.
I don't think it made Aston Villa's highlight reel, so that shows how close it was.
I mean, there might be a reason that's not made the highlight reel, to be fair.
Well, exactly, that's what I mean.
No, more like trying to shield him.
Yeah. Well, exactly. But that's exactly what I mean. But I kind of keep coming back to the fact that if you compare him, if we had Tammy Abraham now, and I know this is revisionist history because I'm certainly one that didn't think Tammy Abraham was going to be good enough for the Premier League, so I take that point as well. But if we had Tammy Abraham, I think we probably would have scored 2 or 3 more goals and maybe got 3 to 6 more points. You know, so I don't want to blame Wesley in total because I don't think it's his fault. But if we'd had another striker, then maybe he wouldn't be starting, I think is my point.
So I think most things that you've said there are pretty fair. I also think it's probably 50-50 between Villa fans defending him and Villa fans saying he's no good. Usually with stuff like that, the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle, would be my thinking.
Right.
So, yes, he hassled and harried at the end of the game on Saturday, and it was a nice little passage of play from him. But I'd like to see more of that personally.
Got to have more.
No. I mean, you can't be full power 100 miles per hour doing that all game because you'll be burnt out after 15 minutes.
No, I'm not saying that.
You do it at the right times.
Well, there has to be more to his game than just harrying.
He did it, and the fans absolutely loved it. They got up and they were behind him, and it would have given him a buzz and it would have given him a boost. That's why I'm surprised he came off when he did, because he'd literally just done that. But I don't monitor the players' fitness. They'll know better than me in the dugout what's going on. Villa have made a rod for their own back in terms of the transfers, like you've said. Really, there's no viable alternative, in my opinion. Keenan Davis is young, and I rate him, and I think he's going to be a good player. But he wasn't a goal scorer in the Championship. So at the current time, at the moment, this stage of his career, he missed a lot of football last season as well, don't forget. He isn't going to be a goal scorer in the Premier League. Codger, I don't think he's a Premier League striker, same as you, rightly or wrongly. He used to do things in the Championship that I thought would let us down. I definitely don't think you can get away with some of his style in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So Villa have put Wesley under enormous pressure by not getting in on an alternative. We've tried to get in an alternative.
On deadline day?
It hasn't happened. I mean, we'd have been working on it before deadline day,
Right.
but it hasn't happened, and it looks like something's fell through. I've got my suspicions of who it was. I said last week in the podcast with Greg, and Villa haven't managed to get another one in. From what Greg said last week, and he will know more than us probably, Villa aren't desperate for a striker. They're more after a winger.
That surprised
Which,
me.
yeah, it surprised me when Greg said that last week as well. So I've seen things from Wesley that I've liked a lot. He's had good games, he's had bad games, and to be honest, he's had ugly games. I thought on Saturday he was okay.
Right.
Not bad. I thought he was okay. He added something to his game that I quite liked, and that's what I want to see from him. And the same stuff I'm saying about Trezeguet have something to work with. My personal opinion is I think there's something to work with there. I think there's enough there to say, give it a few months, maybe even next season, this guy's going to be a good player. And I think I've seen a few things that can be worked on, can be honed, and I think he'll become a good player. He was kind of drifting to the left a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Thierry Henry, but Thierry Henry used to do that for Arsenal. Gabby did it at times when he was the lone striker. He kind of looked like he's trying to add something to his game on Saturday by drifting to the left and cutting in, and I thought at times he was taking up good positions and not always being found. In games that we've had, I don't think he's missed loads of chances.
Wesley?
I don't think he's missed loads. I don't remember him missing tons of chances. He's had the odd miss.
Now, my memory is not good, and so I can't recall the games that he's had chances, but there's been a couple of close-range chances where he's either not been in the right position or he's mishit the ball. Or
You're
like,
thinking
not
of the one against Burnley.
That's one of them.
McGinn tucked away.
There's also a couple where, like, he should have been darting to the front post because they just keep hitting the front post, and he doesn't, and he pulls back. Maybe that's a miscommunication. Maybe that's not all on him.
But he's not the finished article, and then people say, well, 22 million, he should be the finished article. The facts are he isn't. Strikers nowadays, 22 million is not a lot of money.
Don't disagree with that. And again, it comes back to the fact that we don't have a finished article striker. I've got a couple of points before we move on, because I don't want to talk about Wesley too much. And
I think it's a hot topic. I think we should be talking about it.
Above all, I want Wesley to succeed. I don't want that to be misconstrued. I would love it if he scores 10, 15 goals. Absolutely great, and then builds on that. Absolutely fine. The two things I really wanted to say was, with the transfer strategy that basically wasn't executed properly, whether that's Villa's fault or whether it all fell through, either way, we've let down Keenan Davis a little bit, because I think he needs a season in the Championship to play regular football.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Right, so that's a shame for him.
So you're saying if we'd got another striker, we'd have probably loaned Keenan out?
Potentially,
I think that's probably a fair shout.
And the other one is, even if Wesley had already scored double figures this season, whatever, like, he's a superstar, we still have an issue because we don't have anybody else. So, like, even if he gets injured or whatever, there's a massive problem there. And again, it comes back to the strategy. Whatever happened, whether it just wasn't executed properly or whether players let Villa down at the last minute, it left us in a hole. And if we end up getting relegated because we don't score enough goals, I mean, we are scoring a lot of goals from midfield and stuff like that, so maybe it won't become a problem. But if we don't have a recognised striker because Wesley gets injured or something else happens, then we're just a real issue, and I feel disappointed. And it surprised me when Greg said that we're not looking. Maybe we are looking at striker, but
I'm not saying we're not looking, but he's saying the winger's a priority.
That surprises me, and I would be very shocked if we don't sign a striker fairly early in the January window.
A lot of Wesley's movement he's not good at the moment. I think it can be worked on, and again, that's why I liked what I saw on Saturday, from him drifting out to the left and trying something different essentially with him. You could see it was something that we'd worked on. So if I can see stuff's been worked on, I've not got a problem, because I'm not expecting him to come in and hit the ground running. I wasn't expecting him to be on 4 goals at this stage, to be honest. From what I'd seen from his time in Belgium, he was never a prolific striker.
Yeah.
So I wasn't expecting him to say that. I've seen bits where he's dropped deep, and I feel there's something there where he can perhaps start to bring people into play. He spends too much time on the floor. I don't like that. That's something that I didn't like when Ashley Young used to do it. Wesley's got a bit of that in him. I don't really like that. I've seen things where he's got involved in confrontation and stuff, and a bit of argy-bargy. Again, I've not really got a problem with that. In fact, I quite like to see
definitely
stuff like that, because it shows that he's fired up.
Yeah.
His goals have all been with his feet. Good finishes. A couple of the goals have been quite similar. One at Norwich and one at Arsenal were quite similar.
Yeah.
So he's shown that he can finish chances, because they weren't gimmies, any of those chances. I don't think they were gimmies.
Two or three were close ranges.
I don't think they're gimmies.
No, but you've got to be in the right position. But you're a Premier League striker.
Yeah, and he's found himself in the right position. So again, he's proved that he can get in the box
less times than more.
Yeah,
to reverse that
fair,
phrase.
but it's not like he hasn't scored and we're saying, oh, he doesn't get himself in the box. He's never scored from getting himself in the box. That's not true. He's done it a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with that.
I've completely forgotten my final biggest point that I was literally about to say.
Do you want some time?
No,
I've got one more point.
Go on, and you do your point. I won't listen to you, and I'll try and come up with mine.
on social media, I feel like, and I tweeted this last night.
I've remembered.
I feel like we've got to a point where Villa fans used to be so negative, and we, or a lot of Villa fans did, particularly social media ones, where we'd be kind of just going, get off the players' back. And since Smith's come in, I feel like it's gone completely 180, and now you can't be constructively critical of a player or a player's performance without going, oh, you're on the player's back, we need to get off. That feels like that happens quite a lot, where people are defending things which really don't need to be defended. If somebody has a quiet game or even a poor game, that can still be talked about. And I just think that we've kind of lost our objectivity a little bit, and now we're all positive, which is better than being all negative. Yeah. But I still think there's room to go, oh, you could have done better there, or this could have happened. That kind of
think it stems from the positive people being a bit defensive, because I'm a bit like that.
Yeah,
they're trying to be a bit defensive because they realise that we've come up and it isn't all going to be plain sailing.
I get that.
They realise where we were, and I'm not saying you don't realise all these things, because you do. And it's just people trying to be realistic, but maybe not going the right way about it, or in a way that gets people's backs up.
Yeah.
My final point on Wesley
Go on.
was, he's a big guy. I was watching him. He's 6'3". He's big. He's powerful. When he was doing that closing down, he's got some pace. The disappointing thing for me is, I'm talking about the 4 goals he scored. I want to see him score a header. You're a big guy. I want to see you getting on the end of crosses, and we do put a lot of crosses in. So again, I think when all this stuff gets worked on and it comes together, I think we've got the makings of a very, very good team, and I think it will all come together at some point this season. I think we'll win games. I think we'll consistently have a stage where we win games. I don't see us being in trouble. I don't think we'll go down. I don't really think we'll be in a dogfight, to be honest. I think we'll improve as the season goes on, and I think we have improved as the season's gone on so far. I think that will continue. I think there's plenty to get behind, and I think Wesley will become a good point in this team.
I really hope so, and I like your optimism, and I share it to a degree.
There's something to work with, that's what I'm saying. All the players we've signed, very few with a finished article.
Yeah.
It's something to work with.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all, and I think you're right. There are real positive things, and we are showing a lot of good football, and it's so refreshing compared to a few years ago where it was so dour.
Look at Gilbert.
Gilbert's great. Matty Target
had a great game on
super
Saturday.
Lively. The whole of the defence.
Target had a good game defensively on Saturday, which I was pleased to see, because that was the question mark over him.
The whole back five a year ago wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
So that shows how much they've gelled.
That's a good back five.
It's excellent.
Gilbert has surprised me how good he is.
Where are we?
It helps having a little bit of pace for sure, but he controlled that flank, and that was part of the reason why Mane didn't have a good game. So I think Gilbert controlled him.
Adam Wright says, let's give Bjorn Engels some love. Mings gets all the plaudits, but this guy's just as impressive. The fact nobody is pining for Twanzebe anymore says it all.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point, and every member of that back four, every member of the team, essentially, except for potentially Wesley, in my opinion, is playing lights out. I think we're showing quality all over the pitch. We just need that. I'd love it. I would absolutely love it if Wesley becomes that focal point and he becomes a real handful for defences from top to bottom of the Premier League.
I just feel it's a bit weird with the people that. I'm not including you in this. The people that are really on Wesley's back, because I remember when Angel was there and he came in, I got to be honest, he was useless.
Right.
He didn't look like he was ever going to... He could barely touch the ball, let alone look like he was going to score.
Yeah.
We gave him time. He went on to become a very, very good striker for Aston Villa Football Club.
Yeah.
There's enough there with Wesley that it's not like he hasn't scored a goal, he hasn't got an assist. He's scored 4 goals and got 1 assist, I think. That's a decent return for someone who's never played in this country before and never played in the Premier League. We're playing against good players every week now.
Yeah, for sure.
I find it baffling that you wouldn't get behind him. To be honest, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I know you haven't included me in that, and I would 100% get behind him every week.
I've not seen much of people. I've seen the odd few. I haven't seen too many completely getting on his back. I think Villa Mad, has he been getting on his back a little bit on Twitter?
Villa Mad is he's not supportive of Wesley, and
it's his opinion. I'm not knocking him. This is my opinion. That's his opinion.
I agree with a few of Villa Mad's points. I'm not.
I
saying
agree with some of the stuff you're saying.
Yeah,
but I just think there's enough there. That's just what I think.
Well, hopefully we'll see it. We'll see it against Wolves, and see it for the rest of the season.
I kind of feel like, I mean, it sounds stupid to say because Tammy scored 28 goals last season, but amongst the coaching setup, Smith was a defender, Terry's a defender. I couldn't tell you what Richard O'Kelly was. Neil Cutler's a very good goalkeeping coach, very involved with the set players and the like and the organisation side of things.
Yeah.
We kind of... do you think we kind of miss having an attacking coach?
Do we not have one at all?
Like, well, I wouldn't describe any of them as an attack.
No,
I presume O'Kelly does the attacking, not just because I wouldn't say who the others would. I know Terry does the defence.
Yeah.
Dean Smith, perhaps. I mean, Dean Smith's very involved in training, but you know what I mean? Like a designated striker coach. Someone to come in now, like, I don't know, an example of someone like Heskey or Dion Dublin comes in and just works with him on certain things, certain side of his games, even if they're not full time. They just come in and work with him on certain things.
I'd be surprised.
That might happen, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if that didn't happen. I feel like that would be an oversight if that didn't happen, but I don't know. I tell
you, he's a beast. Like, if we can get him using his physicality in the right way, he'll be frightening because he showed some serious speed in that closing down passage.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to...
I almost don't want to talk about the 2 goals. I'm quite happy to just keep talking about everything else.
Yeah, well, fair. Heaton makes a good save from Mane from close range. Again, showing good awareness, kind of comes out, makes the goal very, very small. And, you know, we almost have a breakaway. Alisson shows his speed there. McGinn...
That was the sliding doors moment.
McGinn lays the ball through, and I think it's Wesley that can't quite get on the end of that, which is not his fault. Alisson does.
No, I'm thinking of a different thing. Yeah,
does very well to just to tidy.
That's what I'm saying about his speed.
Yeah,
jeez, I couldn't believe how fast he was.
Yeah, and he comes right out there, doesn't he? The Liverpool pressure continues to build. I know we've talked about the stats and stuff, but they did pile on the shots as they went. Oxlade-Chamberlain had 3 blocked attempts. It really showed again Villa's kind of never say die defending and the attitude to just keep chucking yourself at the ball. It's a bit like when we had John Terry back, you know. Like
there was a lovely passage of blocks. Lovely.
Yeah. You've got to appreciate them.
I think Engels blocked the first one, sliding in, great block, and then someone had a shot and it hit Mings in the midriff, and then Target threw himself in and made a great block tackle. It was just, and I thought, this is the other thing about people worrying where we are. I get it to an extent.
Yeah.
But look at some of the dross we had last time we were in the Premier League. We got people out there on Saturday who would have died for the shirt. They were putting their bodies on the line. Okay, we didn't get the result that we wanted. We failed at the end of the game. But I tell you what, there's so much to be proud of. And I was watching some of the players, the pride they take in representing Aston Villa and stuff. It's worlds away from where we were. Absolute worlds away. This is a great bunch of players. And over the next few transfer windows, when we add to this and we get the mix 100% right, I don't think it's far off, to be honest.
No,
we're a couple short. But
I agree.
I think we're in a great place.
We need some depth. I think our certainly the first 10 on the team sheet is really good, and you've got kind of El Ghazi or Trezeguet, or like you can move around that midfield a little.
You've got 13, 14 that are the core of your 11 every week, haven't you?
Yeah.
Connor and Louise have rotated in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Lansbury's probably, I don't see him as a first choice option. I think he's a backup player.
Yeah.
But he's there or thereabouts on the bench every week. Like, it's just up front we're a bit short.
Yeah.
Even the defence, we've got decent centre back options.
Yeah.
I think the fullbacks.
Hawes must be feel a little bit not aggrieved because I think he can see the quality in front of him, but having played so much last year and now to not play at all, he must be gutted professionally at this time.
Yeah, but I think he will have known when he came in that he wasn't going to be first choice. You've got to bide your time. There'll be injuries. There's not been a reason to break up Mings and Engels.
Not at all.
And I think obviously Hawes is Mings' backup, both left-footed. Hawes is his backup player. Mings is first choice. If Mings is fit, he plays every week.
Yeah.
Conser will go on and challenge Engels, I think, because I think Conser looks a good player.
Yeah.
And we spent money on him. Again, I think if we could have got another centre back in, we might have let Conser go on loan.
Oh, really?
I don't really feel like the club expected Engels to be this good.
Yeah.
Because it didn't cost a lot of money. And I know that doesn't necessarily show how a player should be. But I don't think they could have predicted Engels would have been this good. He's made mistakes in games. He's had moments where he's switched off, same as Mings. But again, there's a really good partnership there.
Yeah.
Really good partnership blossoming.
Firmino had a little cut back to Lallana. Again, Lallana probably should do better. Can't quite connect with the ball.
Now, this is when I was starting to think,
Yeah.
this could be our day.
This could be, and then Villa have the chance. Marvellous with this kind of lofted ball over to Trezeguet, and then he cuts it back for Harahan. Harahan tries to get it to Wesley. Wesley can't quite get on the end of it. It's okay defending by Liverpool in the end, but you just think these chances we didn't have that many in the second half, and that could have been a real smash and grab, and 2-0 up, and then you're really confident.
Yeah, I said in fan cams it was a sliding door moment.
That's the sliding
doors moment. Sorry, I don't necessarily think anyone did anything wrong in that passage of play.
Yeah.
I don't think they.
I
when it was live, I didn't feel like they've made the wrong. Trezeguet's made the wrong decision there, or Connor's made the wrong decision.
No.
It just didn't quite come off. People have said to me, I think Aston. I was speaking to Aston after the game, and he said to me, "He should have chipped it."
Who, Harahan?
Yeah, I think he'd have done well to score. He said Alisson was on the floor, and to an extent he was on the floor. He'd have done well to chip him from there. Yeah, at that angle. I don't think
he was going away from goal as well, wasn't he, Harahan? Or at least kind of just going
I don't think that was a viable option in my opinion. I think they all did the right thing. It just didn't come off, and that was the turning point.
So Trent then has another chance, fires wide, and then it's the 87th minute. Mane with the cross and Robertson just at the back post. Is it a case of us switching off, or just this kind of relentless pressure and finally Villa crack?
Bit of both.
Yeah.
I think El Ghazi had his best game in a Villa shirt, in my opinion. I thought he was great. But he was not even switching off, is it? It's just hesitating for a second. That leaves him 1 second behind where he should be with Robertson, that gives Robertson that free header to go on and score. And now El Ghazi will know he should attract him better. Mm-hmm. But it's so hard for 90 minutes or 95 minutes or whatever it is to keep up that level of concentration when you're being bombarded. It's mentally tough. And I do think at times that's why we've conceded late goals, because Arsenal, for example, we just sat we didn't sit back particularly. I'd say about Arsenal, when we sat so far back and you defended, I think people say it's the hardest thing to do is to put the ball in the net in football. I think the hardest thing to do is concentration for 90 minutes, and we'd repelled everything, and all it took is El Ghazi to just be that 1 second behind where he should be. And Robertson's a much great ball in, and you wouldn't have expected. I mean, Robertson's not a seasoned goal scorer.
Great player,
phenomenal player. Just pops up at the back post and finishes well.
I feel a bit sorry for Robertson that he's come into this Scotland team and they're so dross, like they couldn't be any worse.
Well, they got Super John McGinn, mate.
Well, that's true, but he doesn't play that well he's got a hat-trick the other day, granted, but
we might score against San Marino, to be fair.
Well, there you go. And then Mane gets the winner. It comes from Trent Alexander-Arnold's corner. It's a decent header, to be fair.
I mean, from where I was sat in the hole, and I couldn't even see how it had ended up in.
Yeah.
To be honest, so it was a good header. I've seen it back. It was a good header.
No, I feel like, maybe I'm a couple of years late, but nobody on the posts anymore. Feels like said goodbye to a bygone age.
I feel like that's the kind of thing that comes up on Match of the Day every time, like Mark Lawrenson will be up.
Yeah, exactly. That really old viewpoint. Yeah. Well,
Alan Hansen back to talk about that.
Yeah, 2,000 on the post, mate.
It's probably a valid point, but no one does seem to do it really anymore. Yeah. I'm interested. I don't know what.
No. So there you go. We've got a coach. Any coaches watching?
Wayne Homer is a coach. He watches the podcast. Let us know, Wayne.
Get on it.
He's a good header. I do feel like one of Connor or Codger should have put up a bit more of a challenge. But as I've said, I think with Codger he'll let you down, and that was his area, that front post area. To be fair, it looked like Connor had tracked the man into the area where Codger's supposed to be overseeing. So it does kind of feel like one of them should have done a bit more. Looking back, I've not seen it back that many times, but the times I did see it back, it did just feel, it's a phenomenal header, but it did just feel like he should have been put under a little bit more pressure. Because Codger was definitely told to mark that area, because that's what Wesley had been doing from defending set pieces all day. Right. So the front post is his area. It's disappointing to concede another set piece. It feels avoidable. And when the game finished, I would have been upset at taking a point because we've been ahead for so long. But to lose, it just felt like a real sucker punch, a real kick in the teeth.
Yeah. I
got perspective.
I watched. Well, this is it. So I watched fan cams, and obviously there was a lot of people who were gutted, and rightly so. And I think that's the kick, isn't it? That we didn't expect anything going into the game, but different to Man City, where we never really looked like we had a chance. We were 1-0 up till the 87th minute, so it's not like we've gone in and you didn't get anything, and that's kind of what you expected because they're the champions of Europe and they're top of the league. We were so close,
and
that's really frustrating. And we'll get to the end of the season, and these points will be so important. You know, we were 1-0 up against Spurs, we were 2-1 up against 10-men Arsenal, we were 1-0 up against Liverpool, and you look at those 3 games and go, that's points dropped at the end of the day. When it gets to that close and you still lose them,
it is, and I get that mentality. I completely understand it. I was devastated at the end of the game. Just
fell off the desk.
I was devastated at the end of the game, like everyone else. But over the few days since, I just kind of think my overriding emotion is pride. And people say it's small time to be proud of losing a game, but why is it? I put this shirt on tonight. One, because I want to see if it'll fit me. It doesn't.
It doesn't look as tight as I thought it was going to.
Mate, it feels tight. It feels really tight.
Very breathy.
This is like a Jack Grealish player issue shirt, and it is tight. It's a medium player issue, and I'm not a medium player issue. But also, so you look at the thing on it. So playoff final, 26th of May, Fulham.
Yeah.
To play the playoff final shirt. Look how far we've come. Remember how you felt that day?
Oh, it was horrible.
One of the worst feelings I've ever had in my life, and football shouldn't be your life, but it's a big part. Absolute devastation, gutting, horrible. Club nearly down the toilet after that.
Yeah.
Just look at how far we've come and where we are now, and there's so much to be proud of, and there's so much good, and I don't think we've got the results that we deserve. I think there's been an element of naivety in there, but to some extent I'd expect that, because majority of the players are new to the Premier League. The manager and the coaching staff are pretty new to the Premier League. There's always going to be teething issues. But we're further ahead of where I thought we'd be. I think there's so much to be proud of and so much to hang your hat on and say, yeah, we're good at this. There's some great players here. There's some players that I really enjoy watching. Last time we were in the Premier League, I didn't enjoy watching any of them. Eric Black was like just picking names out of a hat and just seeing how many of the fans he could annoy with his team selection. So I just think, remember last time we played Liverpool, I got humped 6-0. Oh, useless. Yeah. Absolutely useless. There was no pride there whatsoever. We've lost to Liverpool this time, but there's an enormous amount of pride to take from it. And the players were devastated at the end because they care and they want to do well for the club, and they want to be a big part of this football club. So much to be proud of, so much to be happy about, and we will get better, and I've no doubt we'll move higher up in the league and have a good season.
I hope so. Stephen Deakin, think we could all be gutted about the result and want better, because no one likes to lose the way we did. No harm in wanting better, but let's keep everything in perspective.
Yep.
It's just frustrating how many times we've let in late goals.
Also and it is annoying, and to be fair, it's been a Villa thing for my whole life, it feels like.
Yeah.
I feel like a load of times I've sat in that whole end and looked up to the north stand and seen a late goal go in that's cost us in my life.
John McGod 7. Looking back at Arsenal, Spurs and West Ham games, we've seen Spurs get smashed by Brighton, Arsenal draw at home to Palace, and Wolves with 11 men on the pitch. West Ham just looked awful. What looked like acceptable results starting to look like big points dropped.
I don't think you can look at it like that. When we played West Ham, they could have gone third in the league, I think, if they'd have won that game against us. Yeah. They were on a decent run at the time.
I see it slightly differently in that it is points drop because we should be taking advantage of having 11 men versus 10.
You'll have the odd slip though, won't you?
Well, yeah, of course, but we seem to be slipping quite a lot. And that's what's going to cost us potentially.
The Arsenal one is the one that annoys me. That was poor from us. We managed that game terribly, and we got taught a lesson, and I do think there was lessons learned from that game that long term might do well for us. That's the one I look back and think, not acceptable what we've done there, playing against 10 men, sat back, invited them onto us, done exactly what they wanted us to do, made it easy for them.
Yeah.
At some point you'll lose games late. At some point we'll win a game late. Yeah, it'll happen just like VAR.
We did it last year.
Last on our side.
There was a couple of games last year where we came back, and I agree with that. Things even themselves out.
Liverpool are frightening though. You've got to remember as well. They called them mentality monsters, weren't they? Being called after the game. They did Leicester 2-1 in the last minute. They're a frightening side. They will win the league. Liverpool will win the league.
But yeah,
If you play badly, you win.
But
you
that's
will win the league.
that's the frustration. No, we've said it before. Alex Ferguson's teams used to win the league because they won these games late and they got the breaks and that kind of thing. I'm just worried that these kind of late, unlucky teams go down. Do you know what I mean? And I hope you're right, and I agree with the positivity that we're going to get better and better, and I hope that's true. But
We got better last season.
yeah, you drop these results, and it's very frustrating. But I agree with you. I think there's a lot to be positive about, a lot to build on, and hopefully we can kick on against Wolves.
If we're at February and these things are still happening, I'll start to worry.
Yeah. Hatter says, if we need a striker, who is it? I wish it were Tammy.
I mean, we'd all like to have Tammy Abraham there. I mean, I didn't
Don't think he's coming back now.
No, it's probably not going to happen, is it? Again, we're unfortunate in the fact the time if Frank Lampard doesn't get that job and Chelsea don't get a transfer ban, he's probably here, albeit probably on loan still. But he's probably at Villa Park. It's fair play to him. I actually like to see him do well. I'm enjoying seeing him do well at Chelsea. I'm enjoying what Lampard's doing at Chelsea. You look at the clubs that you like watching and are likeable, and Chelsea have never been a particularly likeable club, have they? They're likeable at the moment. I think we're a part of those Premier League teams that are likeable, and again, I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I think like Brighton. I'm enjoying watching them at the moment. They're quite a likeable side. Liverpool and Man City, you just have to be in awe of them at times. The way they grind things out. Sometimes when they're not playing well, some of the sensational football they do play.
Yeah.
Look at Man U, and you think, there's not much to like there or get behind. Arsenal, when the fan base annoy the hell out of me. You look at them on the pitch and think, where's your pride and stuff? We're part of that likeable group again. No, and I think that's a big thing. And it's not the question that was asked at all, but I think that's a big thing.
Why stick to the question? Dave...
You know when people say, play it as you see it?
Yeah.
I don't know what I do.
No,
it's certainly not that.
I mean, you're rogue, I think.
I am rogue, off the cuff, mate.
A maverick. Dave, 1874, if Jack is fit for next weekend, who drops out? Nobody who played against Liverpool deserves to lose their place.
I mean, our new fan cam co-host, Liam Bryan, don't know whether people will have noticed there's a different guy asking some of the questions.
Yep.
Liam, I think, have we explained this at any point?
We definitely explained Jacob, didn't we? But yeah. Liam is he's been on fan cams a couple
Budding
of times.
Journalist.
Yeah, did some really good writing for James Rushton, and we've just basically pinched him and said, look, you're really good. Do you want to come and do some stuff? So Liam's going to be doing more fan cams with us over the next season, hopefully.
The poor guy shadowing me and you.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a lot to learn, but not from us.
He's got no hope. No hope.
But anyway,
we've seen his career.
I don't know what your point was.
No, he said to me in fan cams that we did a little segment at the end. He said, "Does Jack get back in the team next week?" 100%.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I think he'll come back in central midfield.
Do you? You've said that before, haven't you?
I think for this game he'll come in central mid because I think Trezeguet and El Ghazi both had very good games. I think he'll come in for Luiz.
Right.
And it'll be interesting to see because we didn't feel like we were doing well, did we, when we had Jack in central midfield? Not because of Jack, but we felt like the balance of the team was wrong. So it'll be interesting to see him coming back in now. Trezeguet's a bit more adept than he was. It'll be interesting to see if that does happen, how it works.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Anything else on the game?
No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, at least one Villa side beat Liverpool on Saturday because the Villa women beat Liverpool 2-0, didn't they? That was good to see.
Fire like Follis.
They're on fire, mate. Absolute flames. Yeah. They're on at the moment. It's a good goal as well from Emma Follis. Nice little finish. Friend of the channel.
We need to get her on, don't we?
Yeah, we should try and sort something out. To be fair, there's probably a good demand for that kind of content. Under a gas lamp are doing some great stuff with that side of Aston Villa. So
Mark Girobe.
Yeah, he did tell us how to pronounce it, didn't he?
Girobe.
I killed it last week. It was worse than your pronunciation.
Girobe.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah.
That feels very NFL. What you've just done there.
Girobe. Anyway, yes. Before we go on, we've got a mugs announcement.
Oh what?
Yes, we are. Next week they're going to go on sale.
Ooh. Get him fast.
So I think we've got about 100 to 110 mugs, something like that. So we'll put out all the details in the coming week. But
finally going to be able to quit work when there's mugs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're £100 each. So we'll put them on sale. They'll be up and they'll go like hotcakes.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't envisage they'd go so fast last time.
That was ridiculous.
We've been sitting on them a little bit as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
For some reason. Obviously, there's been a change of ownership. I don't know whether anyone... People probably haven't noticed because it's been so seamless.
That's
but
true.
We do feel like we're doing a good job in the ownership of the channel at the moment, don't we?
Absolutely.
I feel like we've just put down Rollington to shame.
Brett Leader has a big question. Okay, so the big question.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
There's a wedding in Sydney on the 18th of January. Should I send you guys a proper invitation, nearest and dearest only? You'd count in that lot for sure. Yes, if you're going to include a flight.
Yeah, I'm
with it.
Flights both ways. I'm going to need. I presume that's Brett Leader's wedding.
I only travel in business now as well.
Do you?
So, no, I don't. I would definitely slum
I've
it.
never done anything but economy ever.
Business.
I've missed
the
out on it.
greatest. What I would say is you don't need to post it. Just send us an email invitation with the details and obviously the flight confirmation.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to know the logistics of it all.
I'd
I'm not
love to go to
going
Sydney.
to rule it out.
Somebody contacted me on LinkedIn as well from Sydney, saying that they love the podcast.
Really?
So yeah, I mean, we could make a thing.
It's a global podcast, mate.
Yeah.
Absolute global. Villa are a global club. We're a global podcast.
That's it. Anything else from you?
Don't think so, no.
Preview
Yeah, I'll record one on Thursday, I imagine.
with Jazz?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
She was trying to worm her way into the podcast
She was.
booth earlier, wasn't she? No, Jess.
Stand room.
There is not room for three people in here, as we found out when me, you and Johnny Gold were
I was
in here.
going to say, old-time watchers and listeners will remember Johnny Gold squeezing in here, and there was not a lot of... I had to stand.
Nearly a year ago, that was.
I had to crouch. I got, cramp in my
Yeah,
thighs.
we saw a bit too much of Tom Julian in that podcast to be video watchers.
Do you know what? You've cheered me up. I was
Have I?
grouchy, and now I feel buoyant. I feel like Villa are on... Have a good foundation, and we're going to go up.
Turned you round. Hopefully I've turned any negative Nancy's round and who were coming into the podcast feeling a bit down. That's what I try and do. I'm quite a positive person where Villa are concerned.
You're a joy spreader.
I try to remain positive, and I just being back in the Premier League, I just want to enjoy it. I just want to enjoy being back amongst the big time.
Yeah.
We'll get back to a good place. We'll get back to those days. Trust me.
Good.
We'll get back there at some point. Won't be quick, but we'll get there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. If you have enjoyed this podcast, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all of those kind of things. What do you make of the Wesley debate? Where do you sit on that? Has he still got a way to go, or should we be looking in January? I kind of think we should be looking in January anyway. Make sure you're recommending the channel. If you've got Villa fans that don't watch, please spread the love. That'd be nice. iTunes reviews, always good. We've got another competition next week, I think, as well. So lots of stuff. Get your notifications on for the mug ordering.
Yeah. Big news. Big news.
And,
People might break the internet with that announcement.
Potentially.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week. Dan will be here with previews. And, up the Villa.
Another Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.